where we talk about how you can use software and AI to serve your business to get more efficient and to take annoying work off your plate. Today, we have a pretty interesting topic, I think, and we want to talk about how to build electronic signatures into your business and how to automate the whole process. Because when I used to work in sales, this was always a big pain point. I worked in a sales company in Germany, and yeah, they took 4 years. I joined, and then 2 years later, when I left, they still hadn't implemented electronic signatures. And you know how it goes. I think I lost my first ever sale. Or I'm pretty sure I lost my first ever sale because I didn't send him the stupid document. I was there on site visiting him. He wanted to buy a solar system that I was selling at the time. Would have made me over $1,000, like the first sale ever, like a big thing, you know. And then I forgot to send him the stupid thing, and the printer wasn't working, all this kind of crap. So in today's episode, you will learn how to use electronic signatures using a combination of Adobe Acrobat Sign, what is pretty good already to collect electronic signatures, but then you also want some other platform that allows you to automate the full process, because it's pretty annoying to use Adobe Sign to send out contracts, I'm gonna be honest, but there is a really, really neat way to do this. I use this myself um, in the tutoring business that I was working in, or that I was working for. I did, I think, at least 100 hiring conversations with different people um, for tutoring positions, basically, right? They were independent contractors, and I interviewed them, and I was doing them everywhere. I was in Buenos Aires, I was in Florida, I was in Bogota, I was here in Cyprus, I was in Germany. Sometimes I was on my phone, sometimes at the airport. So I needed a way to work really independently, really easy, and find a way that I can work from everywhere and still have the full process of creating a contract and requesting an electronic signature and downloading the signed contract and putting it into the right folder and everything. I wanted everything to be automated. So I worked for quite a while on this, and this is exactly what you're going to see today. And I'm actually going to show you step by step how to do everything yourself. So roll up your sleeves, because this is going to be a how-to episode rather than talking about what something does. Now, for this demonstration, I'm going to pick two tools. Right? We always need a couple of tools. Software can always be intimidating because there's so many different tools right now, and a lot of the tools do quite the same. Now, if you want to use Adobe Sign for electronic signatures, there's two good. I'm not sure about Zapier. I think there's two good options right now to automate the process. One is Make.com, that I don't like for some reason. I don't know. I can't tell you why I have a visceral reaction to Make.com. I just don't like it. N8N will be a challenge for you if you are not a techie person. So I think you could use Make.com, or you can use Microsoft Power Automate, a tool that literally nobody ever talks about, probably because it's Microsoft or whatever, but obviously a lot of large companies, because I'm working with a lot of bigger companies, they are already on Microsoft. And Microsoft Power Automate is a pretty solid tool that allows you, that it's very beginner friendly with drag and drop. So you're not going to see crazy shit today, right? You can do all of that I show you while I'm doing it. Maybe you will watch it one or two times, but you will be able to build the whole system for your own business to either get signatures from your clients or from your employees. And I'm going to show you some cool tricks on what you can do. So you will need Microsoft Power Automate or Make, and you will need Adobe Sign to gather the signatures. Now, there's no way in the world that you will be gathering good electronic signatures from your clients for free, right? Every provider will make you pay for that. Pretty much all of my corporate clients use something called DocuSign. DocuSign is great, but it can be a little bit costly. So what I recommend is going with Adobe Sign, and I'm going to show you to you in a second. So let's first jump into the tools, and then we're going to start creating a contract template really quick, just a quick template. And then start building the automation from scratch, completely from scratch. I'm going to show you every single step. So first, let me share with you, where's the screen? Hang on just a second. All right. So first, this is the first tool you will need to have. I think a lot of you guys already have an Adobe account. And when you're already in your Adobe Cloud, you can check if you already have eSign, I think they call it. It's a purple tool. Now, if you don't have it, you will need an account for Adobe. Again, if some of you screaming, oh, I don't like this, well, it is going to be worth every penny that you pay for it. Let me be honest. If you select a couple of signatures a month only, it's already worth every single dollar you spend because it's so much easier. It's going to save you so much time. Not an ambassador, of course. I don't get paid to say that, but I absolutely love it. Now, we in our case decided to go for the normal Adobe Acrobat Pro. We didn't use a business version. There is a big listing down here on what the Pro version gives you. You could have even more function. I think even the standard would probably be good enough for what we're trying to do today. But again, we had a tutoring business in Germany, so we went ahead and started with the Pro plan. It's $20 a month. And then you will need Power Automate. Now, I suggest this here for people that are already on Microsoft. If you're not on Microsoft, I would not suggest you to get Power Automate, because even though I don't like it, Make.com is better for pretty much the same price. Make.com is, I think, $20 a month, and Power Automate is 15. While this here is pretty solid, again, it is Microsoft. I also don't like Microsoft. I don't like Make, don't like Microsoft, but Make is better integrated with more different pieces of software. This is obviously not just the Microsoft Cloud, but also other tools like Trello that we covered in another episode of the System Saturday. It has other things as well. For example, Jira, if your company's on Jira, but you already realize, right? It's more of the corporate suite. Trello, Jira, project management, Adobe, right? If you're running smaller things and you want to integrate with retail AI or Vapey or whatever, build AI agents, you probably want to go for N8N or Make.com. Now, again, for this demonstration here, we're going to use Power Automate Premium. If you guys, by the way, need to see exactly the same with Make.com, then just drop it in the comments and I can create a video for that as well, because it's not going to be different too much. And I think you will even be able to build it and Make if you watch this video, because it's really about understanding how everything fits together. Now, so moving forward, I will assume you have Adobe and you have Microsoft Power Automate. And everyone that is actually in business and not just thinking about starting a business somewhere in the future, but it's actually in business making money already, will understand that this year is worth $30 a month, right? You will not run into the limit of your flows. You will just, oh, sorry, this is already a quick preview on what we're going to do later. But you will just be able to move forward with $30 a month and collect as many signatures as you want. So that is pretty dope. The only thing you have to do is put in an hour now to build it with me together. But I'm going to show you every single step. Now, let's go first into Adobe. All right. And I'm trying to not flash client data this time, so it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. So when you log into Adobe Acrobat, you're going to probably end up on the home page. Sorry, I got to drink a lot now because I went and ate way too much. All right, here's all the ongoing agreements for our tutoring service that we're called Net2Know. Now you will want to go over to Documents. Quickly pull this here. Let's get rid of this. Right. We'll go over to Documents, and you will want to create a template. This is one of the most important parts, actually. And if you already have a company, it's going to be really, really easy, because you're just going to go ahead and upload your Word document or your PDF that you're already using. Now, I don't want to assume that you know how to use this here the way that we need it to. So let's move ahead and create a template. I will just select like an anonymous file for this demonstration. So this here that I'm uploading is a Word document. Let's see if that works. Normally I use PDF, but let's see if it takes the Word as well. Now, the reason why this is important, you're going to see in a second. When you create contracts, there are things that are fixed. This here is fixed, right? The role of the platform operator, the role of the service provider, these are fixed. The compensation, though, is not fixed. I hope this makes sense. Not everyone will be paid 15 euros an hour, right? Or if you have a client, not everyone will book the same package. Not everyone will book the same same amount of services. Not everyone will get the same pricing from you. So sending out these static contracts doesn't really serve you. And this is why I don't suggest to just get Adobe Acrobat and send out contracts, because you want an easy way to customize them in a manner that they fit what you think you need. Right? So other than moving ahead with this template here that has like a fixed price, let's see if we have anything else that should be flexible. Nope. That is all right. Obviously, we need a signature field and everything, but this is the one thing I want to have as our flexible field for today. So let's quickly close this here again. I'm going to open the contract real quick on the screen, hopefully. And what you want to do is, if you have a Word document like this, let's see if I can make this bigger. Can I not? Here. You need to leave this free, right? If you want to create a template like this, you will have to leave this free. You could have, for example, euro here, but then you just take the number out. You don't have to have a big field, but I always like to leave a little bit more space than a little too less, right? So something like this here would work well. So this is enough space for our flexible field later, where we can fill in, hey, this is going to be 10 bucks per hour, or 15 or 16 or whatever we want to put in there, right? So this is basically what I want to use as the template for our contract. Let's save this real quick. And for your specific business, right, it will be different. So for example, when I worked in construction, it was the number of modules for a photovoltaic system. Or I basically didn't work in construction, I worked in sales for construction, right? So it could be this, it could be the frequency on that you purchase a product, right? On a monthly plan, on a weekly plan, or whatever. You could fill in the pricing flexible. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do here. I would just suggest take your existing contract, read through it, and think, hey, this is what I usually change for every other client. And these are all the fields. And even if you only change them occasionally, you want them to be taken out of the fixed text that we're looking at, and you want them to be flexible fields. What means here, you're going to leave them empty for now. All right. So let's save this. I think I already did. Documents in Adobe Acrobat and create an e-sign template. Oh, I really got to be careful here. It doesn't apply to filters. All right, so let's create another template. Let me delete the old one so we don't confuse it. Delete, create a new one. I'm gonna go ahead and select the new file and have this uploading for a second. What happened here? Where are we? Oh, this is kind of lagging. All right. So here we are. Now we're looking at the newer version of what we were looking at before. And now we have this field here blank, right? So what we can do is select on the right side, you have all these different tools. I hope you can see this, by the way. I don't think I can really scroll into that. No, I can't, unfortunately. So on the right side, you have different tools. You have signature fields. These are obviously for your electronic signatures. You have signer info fields. This is name, email, etc. And then you have blank data fields. Now, when you want to use something like this here, a field that you want to fill in, that we want to fill in, right? We want to say this is 20 bucks per hour. We will use a text input. So you will just drag and drop this over here. You can, it's pretty intuitive. You can edit the size of this field, everything, and just put it there. Well, it's a little bit too big, right? Just drop the field in there, and that's basically it for now. Obviously, normally you would have a header. I just took this out so you don't see the name of my client, right? But normally you would have the header for your information, and then you can also put in, I always take this here for the name, one for the address, and one for city, etc. All right, and a good thing to do is then just double click on one of these, and you can change the tool. You can put in a tooltip saying first and last name. Click on OK. And now later, if somebody hovers over this field, not sure if it's going to do this right now, but later if they try to fill in this and hover over this field, it's going to tell them, hey, put in first and last name, right? And you can put this for all these fields. So you can actually explain to them what you need from them. These here are the fields that they are going to sign, right? Their name, their address, their city. This year, I obviously don't want them to fill in, right? Because this here is supposed to be set by me. The client's not going to select their price, or my employee's not going to select their wage. So we got to treat this field here a little differently. Let's double click on this. And what you want to do is first, this field gets assigned to either participant 1, us as the sender, or anyone. To be able to fill this field from our automation, you need to select anyone, not sender. You need to select anyone, and you want to make this here text input. We want to make it read only so that they can't change it. Appearance, that all works. All right, that should work. We will see it later. If it doesn't work, we'll need to go back and change it. I think read only is the right thing. Yeah. All right. So that's basically our contract that we're going to use today. And we're going to obviously ask them to put in their name and everything. They can do this themselves, right? Normally, you know how a contract looks. It will say name, address, and it would just fill in the fields. It's very easy. This here we want to fill in ourselves. And this is going to be the signature field, right? We can just, now we don't have signature here. We're just going to drop it here for now. So let's say signature. And you can also have the date. Date is here. You could also have the location where it was signed, right? All this good stuff. But right now, let's just leave it with one signature, one date, so that you guys can see how it works. What we actually did in the business is that we already pre-signed all these contracts. We put the picture of our signature on the contract, and then we sent it out for them to sign, so we didn't have to sign it back as soon as we got it, right? So we put this already in the template. You can imagine, like, yeah, fill in a picture here of our signature, and the date would then default from this here, right? The day that the customer opens this or the employee, it gets a date, then they sign it, and we were basically done. Super, super easy. Now, let's create this template here. You have successfully created a new template. These buttons here, for some reason, really often don't work. Yeah, as they don't now. All right, but we would be able to find it here in documents, templates. Apply the filter for the 1000th time. Or did I open it for some reason? Hang on. Templates. This is it, I think, right? Let's click on use template for a second so you see how it looks when it's opened. So normally, right now, you could already send this to some person, right? It will fill in the fields that it just opened here a second ago. These are the fields, right, that the person will be able to fill in on their phone or wherever. And now it's preparing the file for e-signing. So it will enable you to send this out to some person. So you could say, this is going to go to linus.ally@nettoknow.net. Right, it's our old email. Please don't spam me on this email. But yeah, I could send it there, and I should get an email on my phone to sign this contract. Maybe we'll actually do this right now. Oh, by the way, this is the tooltip that I mentioned before, right? When you hover over this field, it's going to tell you first and last name. Please fill this in. It's very small right now, but I hope you see it. So why don't we send this out right now before we jump into the automation, so you guys see what the employee or the customer, for example, is actually going to receive. All right. Don't know if you heard that. I got something here. You probably stop sharing here so you can actually see something. So what I got, man, I'm gonna go and flash a lot of different customer information here if I'm not careful. All right, so I'm getting this here from my friend Alex. It's his Adobe account. And now if I click on this button, this is what your customer is gonna get. It's like super easy and it's instant, right? You instantly get an email, you open this, Microsoft Edge, yeah, whatever. No. Let's open this in Chrome. It's gonna load. Right. It's gonna ask you to continue. But then you basically have the contract here, right? You can zoom in, all good. And here in the top, trying to do this here while looking at the camera, you're gonna fill in your different information, right? You can type in Linus, Ally, the address, etc., etc. Now, if you click on next, it's gonna send you to the next free field. The next required field is the signature, right? So if you click on click to sign, it is gonna open this screen. And this is what you guys are looking for, an electronic signature that just requires you to use your finger and sign, right? So let's say I sign. It's going to require you still to put in the full name, right? Because some people sign like I did. It's a random thing. So you're gonna put in Linus, ally, apply. And now this is signed. I don't know if you see it. It has a timestamp. It went to the email, right? So it's a legally binding electronic signature. You can now go ahead, click on submit, and that's it. That's basically it. And I will get it in the Adobe sign right back. Let's go to, let me try share this here again. Oh, yeah. Honestly, this year really is annoying. The tool works, but it is kind of annoying. Let's go documents. I entered everything 25 times. Now let me quickly make sure to not share sensitive data. Completed. Yeah. So here on the left side, we were just in templates. Here on the left side, if I look at completed, normally we have like 200 different things here. I'm always trying to apply these filters. But yeah, here you do see all your agreements that were sent out and were completed by your customer. So you can basically just go ahead, open this thing, and it's going to give you the whole PDF that you can download on the right side. Obviously, I didn't fill in, I don't even have a real header, but normally you would have the header, right? Everything filled in. And then you have the signature on here with the timestamp, time zone, the date defaults automatically. So it is a pretty neat concept. So everything is good there. But one thing did not work. Obviously, we don't have a price or a wage or whatever per hour yet. Because this would require you to create a new template every time, or to go into the template, then edit it, enter some fields for the sending and blah, blah, blah. And you see how annoying Adobe is. Like, you got to reload every page 20,000 times. So we don't want to do this. And here is where our Power Automate comes into the game that we were talking about earlier. So I will go over here. Oopsie, not admin. Nope, nope, nope. And we're going to go over to Power Automate. Again, if you have Microsoft, I think this is an old contract. I'm honestly not sure if we actually bought Power Automate, or if we just had it from the get-go. Maybe we got lucky and we just had it. This here is the page that you will get to when you first open Power Automate. Can be pretty overwhelming. The good news for you is this stuff here does not matter at all. They have templates and stuff, you know, like all the scammy people right now on TikTok showing you random templates, and they're like, hey, I'm going to print millions for your business. Please buy my automation template. They actually have them for free in here, like everywhere else. But what we want to do is create a flow. And we don't want to, they have different options of flows. Sorry, it's what the fuck is going on here? Wow. I may have too many windows open. All right, it's going to load for a second. So we do have different types of flows here. Some of them are manually triggered. I did use manually triggered ones because you can actually add context information, like for example, the email that you want to send the contract to and the price that you want to give them. That works. You can do this manually from your phone. There's a Power Automate app, and it's actually relatively neat. Let me quickly show you that while this here is loading. ADHDing all over the place here, but I think it's good for you to see. So when you're on the phone, I actually do have 2 flows here that I ran manually. So one if I was paying the teachers 15 euros and one if I was paying them 20. So let's click on 20. It's gonna ask me for, oops, sorry. It's gonna ask me for, you probably can't see, an email address and a name. So that's basically what I did. And I fixed the $20 in there. So it was just asking me for email and a name. It was good enough to work on the go. So I could just go ahead and know, oh, I'm selecting the $21 template and I'm sending this to this email address. But it got really, really annoying if somebody just wanted 18 euros, because I had one for 15 and one for 20. So this wasn't good enough. And I looked for a better place to enter information on the go. And there's one great thing that you will find not just in Microsoft, but basically in every other system as well. And this is the forms function. We're going to go for an automated cloud flow, not for one of these manual ones, but an automated cloud flow. And we're going to select one of the existing cloud flow triggers. The most used one, apparently, because at the top is when a new response for a Microsoft form is submitted. I'm gonna be honest, this is just awesome. Let's say this demo, Power Automate, create. And again, this Microsoft Power Automate is built for easy, right? If you guys work with N8N, you will think like this here is like way too easy. It's obviously not as flexible as N8N, but it also is very beginner friendly, like very beginner friendly. Oh God, I think I'm not sharing my screen. Jesus Christ. Let me go back, share the screen. All right. So let me quickly redo this because I think I wasn't sharing my screen. Go back here, cancel. Oopsie. Yeah, okay. So when you're here in Power Automate, you have a bunch of things as an overview. You can ignore pretty much everything, go to create, and it's gonna give you a bunch of options. These here, you don't have to worry about because they're not applicable for you with the cheap plan anyways. You could either run a manual flow, as I just mentioned before on the phone that I just showed you, or you can do an automated cloud flow. That's what we're gonna do. So click on automated cloud flow. I'm gonna call it demo PA, and I'm gonna use the most used trigger ever when a new response from a Microsoft form is submitted. Now, as I just mentioned, this here is a very easy drag and drop way to build automations for your own business. If you want anything advanced, want to integrate with your specific CRM, you're using, I don't know, close.com, GHL, whatever, you're not going to be happy with just Power Automate. But for all this normal stuff, it's just great. If you click on here, it's just going to ask you to pick a form ID and you can move forward. Now, I'm saying this is great from being not a tech person, but I do work in IT, right? So there is obviously some things that will be new to you. To stay open, I'm going to show you every single step. First, we want to wait for a new response for a Microsoft form to be submitted. Microsoft Forms, basically a web form that you can make publicly facing. So let's create a new form in Microsoft Forms. It's one of these applications, right, that you find up here. We just saw SharePoint. I think everybody and their mother has forms on their plan. So let's create a new form. Well, I already gave you all my email address. And you can start with, let's say this here is demo employee contract. And I can say, hey, I want a text response question. So the first question is, what is the name for this employee? And this form here is going to be entered by me. So I used this form while I was on the interview with a new potential teacher for our tutoring business. Or Alex used it while he was on a interview or a sales call with a new potential customer. And he would just type in all the information that we actually need for our purposes to run the business and to send out the contract. That would be name. That would be email. And for our purposes today, it will also be a number. You could do this by choice. I don't like this. Let's say text. And I'm going to say hourly wage or rate. Let's see what contract is. Right? I can make all these required so I don't forget them. All these form builders are the same. Google has a form, then there's Tally. Tally is great for forms and integrations. If you're on Microsoft, use Microsoft Forms. If you're not, then feel free to use Google, Tally, whatever you want. Like there's so many different tools. They all basically do the same. You can send them out to collect responses from all different people, or you just use it yourself. This year, we're just going to use it ourselves. We're not going to give the link to anyone. Right? It's just going to be a private thing where only people in my company can respond. So basically me, so that nobody can annoy me by hijacking my automation. Only I will be able to use this form here to type information on the fly, on my phone, on my Mac, on wherever I am. Right? This is a great tool to just quickly select information. And it's going to be, for the technical people here, it's going to be saved to some Excel file somewhere on your SharePoint. So every new response for a name, email, hourly rate, everything, every one response will be saved to one Excel line. So you never lose any of the data. It's also great. Even if the automation should not work, you will not lose out on any of the data. This here will be our form for today. So let's click on nothing for now. Yep, very good. All right, this here is now our form. And instead of sending it out to collect responses, what we want our automation to do, and again, if you're technical, I'm trying to be very slow here, so don't be, don't get bored. This is very important to understand. This flow here has an inbuilt trigger that waits 24/7 if a new response for a specific form is submitted. Now, what it obviously needs for that is a clear identifier on what form it is looking for, right? It can't just wait for some random form to be submitted. We need a form ID. So this trigger requires you to pick a form ID. Now, I'm probably not gonna just go ahead and pick a form here. What you need is the ID. If you're watching this video and at some point you try to do the same and it doesn't work for you, I'm gonna be honest with you, just go on to ChatGPT, explain what you need, and it will be able to help you because it can be a little bit annoying. This here, let's go back to the form. This is our form. We need the URL. I'm not sure if you will be able to see that. In the URL, there comes a point after here it says design and ID equals. This is the point that you want to start copying the URL till the end. Copy this, and this is the ID of this specific form here, and it is what goes into the first field here. So, oopsie. Use that. This is going to be our ID. Now, another thing that is really, really, really annoying with Microsoft Power Automate for some strange reason is that sometimes this strange thingy here that you see on the left side is kind of hidden. It is the most important thing that we're going to use. And I hope to show it to you later when it's not hidden underneath the rim of the window, but it is what it is. This will be very important later. For now, this is everything we need from this specific field. So now this is basically going to wait for a response for the specific form here to be submitted. What we could do right now is copy this link. All right, it's a link to collect responses, copy link. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open this in another window. Here, for example. Now I could submit this form, go back to our flow, and in this flow here, first we're gonna save the flow. Your flow should continue. Well, okay, we need one more. I wanted to show you very step, but let's go ahead. One more that we will need is get the response details from this here, right? This is just a trigger. So we will look for SharePoint again. SharePoint. Another one that's really annoying here, but again, they have a lot of things pre-built here. That's very easy. So yeah, I would say it is worth it to take a look at that. We will need to get the details or get file content, I think. No, get content. Update file. I think it will be get file content. Unfortunately, I usually use this here in German. So I'm not really sure if this is the right block, but this will be really good for you to learn. So let's take a look here. No, this is not the right thing. Oh, I'm on SharePoint. Let's delete this. Sorry, guys. I'm on SharePoint. I should go on to Forms. All right, so let's go Forms. Oh, yeah, there it is. Well, that was easy. Yeah, no, I was confused. Now, here's what is important. When a new response is submitted, and this is what the flow is going to listen for. This is going to listen for a new response submitted, and it's going to assign an ID, basically. So this here is, we're still listening to the same form, right? So when it says response ID, a form ID, we're still going to enter the same form ID, or by now, as it already grabbed this in this step, you can select demo employee contract. Right now it understands, hey, we're looking at this specific thing, right? This is what we already looked at here. So we can select it here. And the unique identifier of the response will come from this specific field here, because it's going to listen for a response, and the unique identifier for the specific response is going to come from here. First, let's try if we can save it now. Response ID is required. Yeah, sure. No, we can't. Let's click in here. I thought I already said it. Here is where we need this lightning thing. This was hidden before on the left side. That's what I told you. So this here, this button is gonna be what you will use throughout this whole thing, because we're building a drag and drop flow. So we want to select everything from the previous steps. This here basically gives you access to, right? So if you click on this, it's going to show you every object that would say in tech, I don't know, every piece of data, everything, that was created by the previous steps, it's going to give you. Now, the first step only waits for a response to be submitted and gives it an ID. So this is number 1. This is response number 2. This is response number 3, right? So this is basically a dynamic object that's going to be created from the flow. So this is what we got to select here. There's no specific response ID because we want to listen to every single response to this form ever, right? Everything that gets ever created. So let's click on response ID. And now we should be able to save this for now. All right. Now let's go ahead and test this flow after it's done saving. It's always going to take a second. Let's click on test, because I just want to show you this first step. We got to start it manually because we never, right, There are no runs for this flow. This is the first time we ever run this flow. You got to check it manually. And the easiest way to run it manually, just click on test. It's going to wait, right? So it's going to wait for the response to be submitted on the form that we created. So where is it? We got to go to the form and actually submit a response. Otherwise, it won't work. Let's go in here. I say I'm Linus, the boss. Why not? Linus ally at netknow.net. And the hourly rate for me will be $95. Why not? Submit. The response was submitted. Now let's quickly jump back to our flow. And now the flow ran successful, right? It waited for a response to be submitted. It realized, a response got submitted, and it got the response details. Now, different from when you are in, for example, N8N, this is not really a nice view on how things got submitted, but you can get the values that were submitted, right? Here's Linus the boss, Linus ally netknow.net, 95 euros. All right, so it's kind of clunky, but it does work. All right, so let's get back into edit mode. Now that our trigger works, what will be the next step for us? Now, there is something we want to do, and this is, click on plus here, probably make this bigger. No, this should be better. Click on plus. And we're going to look for Adobe Sign. Now, one important thing is do not use the Adobe Acrobat Sign Sandbox. Sandbox for developers only. Use this down here. All right. Click on see more to see all these different things. And what we want to do is we want to pick the library template that we created before. Just a reminder, like this template here, we want to take exactly this specific template that we created before. And we want, to create a copy of the template and send it out for signature. So now I don't know why it's not showing me this in a more beautiful manner. That's kind of annoying. Let's quickly try to. No, that's not doing shit. I used to be able to move this here. Well done, Microsoft. All right. So at some point here, it should give me create an agreement from a library template. Here, I think it is. Create an agreement from a library template and send for signature. Yeah, that's what we want to do. All right. This here is the part that most people will fail. So be very, very careful on what we do right now. This is going to be really important to get every step right. First, you will need to, well, let's first give it a name. Let's say this is employee or contractor, contract, right? Tutoring, something like this. Now, you will need to add whatever we want to select from a library template, right? Here's the library. You will need to add a new item. Let me make this a little bigger so we can see at least something, right? Library, we'll need to add a new item. Now, if you click on add a new item, just a button, it's gonna give you a little bit of a headache because you're not really sure what you have to put in here, right? And what goes in here is the ID of the specific template. Unfortunately, this is not as easy as it is with the other thing that we just looked at. So let me quickly show you how to get this ID. I think there's a way to retrieve it from the template URL as well. But let's try for now to use ChatGPT to actually get it. Let's go to the template. Service contract, demo English. You want to open the template, I think. Yep. Open template. And I'm gonna be honest, I honestly am not 100% sure if you gotta open or edit. I think you gotta open it. Because this is again something where you can't easily get what you need from the URL. You will have to extract it from the URL. So let's click in the search bar up here. I think it starts with CB. I think this here is the part of the, yeah. I think this here will be our thing. DOP, ZB, whatever. But hey, let's give it to ChatGPT because that's what I told you guys to do. If you can't continue, so let's see if that works. And you're gonna say, hey man, building a Power Automate flow with Adobe Sign, and I need my Adobe Sign ID of a specific template. Oops, template. Can you extract? All right, let's try if that works. I think it should start with CB. Yeah, that's it. And it goes to F, right? That's what I showed you in the beginning in search bar. But I'm gonna be honest, I usually ask ChatGPT for that as well because it's really annoying. This this 2% to F, it doesn't count because it's like an extra percent to F stands for something else. Don't want to get too technical here, but yeah, this is basically our ID until here. So let's try if it actually works. If it doesn't work, then we gotta grab something else. Let's copy this. Oopsie. In the case it doesn't work, we gotta go into the edit mode for this specific flow. All right. Back to the Power Automate flow. This is honestly really, really, really slow today. Wow. Drop the ID in here. Okay. Now, you could be happy already that you got this done. And that's great. we're not quite done yet. Again, this is the most most annoying part. I'm trying to save now. Let's see if it gives us an error. Yeah, it gives us an error. So there's still some missing things in here. Now, you will need to add some new items down here. The signature type is eSign. That's good. Everything is fine there. Now you will need to add a new item. Let's click on this. First, we will need something else. Okay, the order will be one. We're gonna send this to the signer. This is all good. Add a new item. We also need the email, right? So let me quickly check something else for you. Yeah, let's go out of here. right. Let's see if I can pull this in. Nah, this is not what I want to do. All right, let's get rid of this thing here. We don't need to fill anything. Okay, so we have order 1 is a signer. And the email of the participant we want to fill in from our response details. I'm honestly not sure if we will retrieve that field, so let's see. Oh, it is it. Okay. So this here is going to be, all right. Let me sorry, I took a small break here for thinking. So this here is our contract. This is our template ID. This signature type is good. Now we have one signer in here, right? The order is the person that this is be sent to the first. If you want multiple people to sign it, we don't want that. We only have one person to sign it, right? So order 1, the role of them is signer, right? There's a bunch of things you could do here, delegate and approve and whatever. We only need one person to sign this because we're gonna get their money, or in this year we want them to become our employee. Now, you need to enter an email for them, obviously, right? So we can send it to them, because otherwise Adobe will not know where to send this specific contract to. Makes sense, right? So let's go ahead. Right, if I enter my email here, it's going to send it to me every single time to sign for a different person. Doesn't make any sense. So we will need their email, and we will know that from the form response that they submitted. So click on here. Oops. Click on here. This thing here, this arrow thing. Click on the email. And now it's going to pull the email from the response details every single time. And it's going to know where the email is being sent to. All right? Hope this makes sense. So what else will we have here? We don't need an authentication password. No. Phone number. No. This is all add-on security that you could deal with. I'm gonna be honest with you. We never did this in the tutoring business. We had over 200 clients and employees at some point, but yeah, it wasn't big contracts or something, right? It was all like the small business. Everybody was friendly, like family feeling. So we never really got ripped off by anyone in 4 or 5 years. I think a couple of people stole our money, but other than that, nothing wild was going on. So we didn't add extra security. You could do that at this point, but this is basically it. We need, this here is our signer, and it's going to go to this email. Right? So now, if I'm gonna go ahead and save this, and save. Because I still have, yeah. How can I get rid of this guy here? Let me go to, I'm gonna try to get rid of the second guy. This one here, I don't want him in there. Yeah, we don't need this one here. God, it's kind of screwed up. Let me delete it and do it again. Wow, it kind of mixed the whole thing up. Super annoying. All right, let's do one. All good. Come on. No. What the heck? Here we go. It's really weird. It's the wrong way around. Honestly, not sure if it's going to take that JSON. Sorry if I'm speaking Spanish, but it really doesn't look right to me in terms of how it's formatting JSON. This looks right. Okay. I think now we should have it. All right. Finally. All right. So you see, this is I told you is the most annoying part. It goes back and forth, and you add a field and you can't get rid of it. It's yeah, some things here are a little bit annoying. This here is I don't want to get technical again. This here is a JSON format. The good thing for you is that ChatGPT understands JSON, so you don't have to know it. It's basically a form of JavaScript, and you can just give it to it and ask questions. What I suggest you to do is what I just did, because this is, they try to make it drag and drop, but if you try to drag and drop and something goes wrong, just delete the whole thing and do it again. Because I could have written it in JSON, but this doesn't serve you because you got to see how to drag and drop it, right? So it should look like this here. If it doesn't look like this, then it won't work for you probably. All right. So did I just, no, I hope I didn't add anything. This should be good for now. Now, there are advanced parameters. You can, for example, what I always like is to put in a message like, hey, please review and complete this document. I think this by default. And you have advanced parameter. You can put in, for example, a CC for this email. If you want to be CC'd on every one of these emails, right, to know that it actually went out, you could do that. You could give an expiration time. What I do with some of my clients when we build with Adobe is to add reminder frequencies. So if it's not signed after 3 days, then give them a quick reminder, right? If it's not signed after 1 day, remind them again, give them a final reminder. You know how it goes, right? So you could do some more things here. Honestly, don't care about it for now. Let's just, yeah, save this now and move ahead. This should work. One of them we're actually going to touch on later is form field. But for now, we're not going to do it. For now, we want to test this here because I want to show you how it actually goes. Oh, we already saved it. Now, what I want to do is I want to submit the same thing that we did before. Same thing, nothing wild. You can click on test and it will allow you to automatically, with a recent trigger, right? The form that I, oh God, it's already 17 minutes ago, that I submitted 17 minutes ago. So now it should not only submit the form that we submitted, right? Linus, the boss, my email and everything. It should also send me the contract from this thing. Maybe, like, let me make sure that this is understood. Right, I would rather spend 1 more minute here and make sure that you all get it. So let's click on test. It's now waiting for a form to be submitted. Oh God, what is it doing here? It's now waiting. Linus, the big boss. Linus, hourly rate, $110 per hour, submit. Let's quickly go back. Okay, it did understand there was a new response submitted. It retrieved the details and it just sent me an email because I am the email that was entered there. And obviously that would normally be your customer, but this is basically what you want to do. You want to enter their email there and it's going to send them a contract right away. So again, I got the same thing, review and sign, right? The whole game that we saw before, where it's going to send me the contract. And I can go ahead and sign it on my phone. So this is really dope. Obviously though, I mean, in case that isn't obvious, this fucking field is still empty, right? There's still no amount for my wage in there because we didn't tell the flow or the template or anything on how to incorporate the detail. And now by looking at the time, I'm thinking maybe I should have put this in multiple sessions, but again, now I said it, now we're gonna move on and build this whole thing together. Now, let me share the screen again. So first thing that we want to do, obviously, because I told you we want to have the amount in there, if I want to have the amount in there, I obviously need to catch the amount at some point. And this has to be in our form. So while I'm having my interview with an employee, I'm gonna put in their hourly rate. So this is already good, right? So we are already getting the information for the hourly rate. We're also having it in our flow, right? This is what we saw before. When I say get response details, it already knows that I entered 110 bucks an hour, or it knows I entered 110, but you know what I mean, right? So it already retrieved this information. That is very good for us. So it's already in our automation, but it is not in the contract yet. So we need to go back into edit mode and get into this most annoying field ever again, unfortunately. Let me try to zoom in here. What's it doing now? Oh God, that's. Okay. Now here will be a little bit of jumping back and forth right now. Yeah. All right. Man, why is it not doing this? Super fucking annoying. Okay, I hope you can see it because I can't really go into there without moving everything. So we are in the create an agreement from library template again. And what we want to do is to grab this dynamic detail of the hourly wage. Now, unfortunately, it won't be as easy as we did it here with the email. It will not work the exact way. What we've got to do to make this really fluent is to initialize something called a variable. So you want to click in between this. After get response details, we want to initialize a variable, hopefully. Initialize variable. So we will have a variable that is being called hourly rate. All right. Hope this makes sense so far. So we're gonna have a variable that's called hourly rate. It's gonna be variable depending on the responses. Now a Boolean is a yes or no type of thing, right? It's basically a switch. So this is all the technical stuff. You don't have to care about any of that. The only thing you want to understand is a string is text field. So this is what we're looking at. We will not set this variable. We will not put a value in here because we want it to be filled depending on whatever was in the form, right? So we'll leave this as hourly rate string. And then there's another node that we set for set variable. I know it's getting more and more technical, and you're probably gonna think, oh God, why? But if you want to actually automate this process for your business, it is gonna take a little bit of work. It took me obviously way more work than it will take you because I had to figure it out on myself, and you can just watch this 1 or 1.5 hour video and follow along. I think we will be doing, will be done in probably quite some time. So this is good. We initialize the variable called hourly rate, and now we want to set it. Now we want to set the hourly rate, and we want to set it to, here we're gonna go for this arrow again, and we want to set it to, God, I can't move my mouse. Why not? What the heck is going on here? Oh, this is annoying at all. value. We're going to take the value from the form submission, right? Now, this here is the first step, the response ID. This is the second step where we get the response details. And this is where we get the different fields and information from our forms, right? So what I want to grab is the hourly rate. So let's set hourly rate to the hourly rate. I hope this makes sense. We do need a variable to have this as a robust solution. And then we can take this variable and put it into this contract as a text, as a defined piece of text, if this makes sense, right? We need a string for that specific contract agreement here. So that works. Let's click out of here and let's save this for now because I've got a wonky feeling with my performance here, internet. Everything is being super, super slow right now. Still saving. And what we're going to do now that we have a variable, the system understands there is a piece of information that we get from the form that is called hourly rate. There is a variable called hourly rate that is a piece of text. It's a string. And this piece of text, this string, equals, in this case here, in this submission of my form, 110. In the previous, I think it was 95. So it's going to reflect every time the hourly rate comes in, it's going to reflect a different variable value, right? That's where we have a variable. Now it's still saving. So in a second, we're going to go into the agreement and add this field in there. Actually, while this is saving, oh, now it's saved. Great. While this is saving, I want to show you one more thing, and it's really, really important because we're going to need this right now. In these templates that you create in Adobe, they have names. The fields that you put in there, they have names. You cannot put $110 in the first field, obviously, right? That doesn't make any sense. It has to be in the exactly right spot in the document. Now, there's going to be a bunch of things changing with your templates and everything, or your contracts, right? But this has to always be the same. They have specific names. You can rename them, but you see that here at the top. Custom field 2, custom field 3, custom field 4. And you see it's not really intuitive, right? This is custom field 2, even though it's at the top. Reason for that is because I added it later than one of the fields at the bottom. You can actually rename them. So you could say my favorite field and click on OK. And then you can reference the specific field name later on. It's really, really important that you look at this and don't just copy what I do. You have to go into this specific template that you created and take the exact name field that we're looking at. In my case, it's going to be easy. This here's the field, and it's called custom field 1. Right? This is the hourly rate field that I want to fill in with my automation. This is important because now when we go into Power Automate, we create an agreement from a library template. We already have all this good stuff here, right? We have this working finally. So this is going to be sent to the signer, but we want to do one thing, and this is an advanced parameter. We want to do one thing before we send this thing out. So you're going to click on advanced parameters and you're going to click on form fields. All right, click on form field. Now you have something down here. It says form field. So you will be able to add a form field, add a new item. Now here it asks you for the name of the field. And finally, this is not an annoying ID, but it is the exact name of the field that you just looked at. I am putting in custom field 1. Please put in whatever your field name says. You can see that here, right? Whatever field name it is, copy it, go over to Power Automate, put it into the form field name. For the value of the form field name, now we want to set the variable, right? So let's grab the variable hourly rate, obviously, right, that we said. And click out of there, click on save, and it should, for the technique geeks, should give you the right JSON here, right? For field name, custom field 1, default value will be the hourly rate field. So it's going to set the string in there. Obviously, I'm going to put quotation marks, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. You actually don't put quotation marks, right? Don't put quotation marks. Just leave the fields in there. If you've never worked with that, it could be a little different than some other things you've seen. No quotation marks in Power Automate around the, yeah, I don't even know how they call them, the fields. You know what I mean, right? Because it's, you see it here, maybe it's going to already put it in quotation marks somehow. All right. So this now gets really interesting. Now we should be able, let's test this. Let's test this with another one. Click on test. This is where it gets exciting, right? This is where it gets it's pretty cool. Let's go over to the form. Submit one more form. Oh, collect responses. Oh, here's the form. Submit another response. The biggest boss. And now my hourly rate will be $35. Submit. Let's see. Well, looks like that worked. Click on stop here. Stop sharing. Okay. The moment of truth. Let's go to the contract and see if it actually worked. Continue. Perfect. So here is the contract in the email for signature. And now let's try to see if you guys can see that. Here it says $35 per hour. Again, it's the same email, right? The same sign Adobe Signature email. It's just got. Now I can sign that and send it out. But it's filled in with the detail that you get from the form. Like that shit is, I honestly, if you're an entrepreneur, you probably get it. If you're not, you probably think like, why would we spend 1.5 hours on a small detail? Man, this is awesome. You can do everything. You can actually put checkboxes in there. For example, when we did tutoring services, we had a number of different services. So we had one-on-one hours. We had task sheets, so basically like extra homework. We did have also something called WhatsApp group strategy, where we create a WhatsApp group where the teachers, the children, and parents could communicate. We didn't charge them for that, but we kind of moderated the flow of conversation, and we made sure to be there if there were any problems. So they would be able to, from our conversation, I would have a sales call and I would say, hey man, we have this WhatsApp group strategy. You don't have to use it, right? We couldn't make that mandatory because of our business model. But if you want to, that's fine, right? We can have you opt in. I can put it on the thing. It doesn't cost you anything, but it's like a great asset, right? Everything is transparent, blah, 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 blah. You know, classic sales call. And they would be like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I would like to see what's going on. And I have some control. My child is so young, blah, 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 right? And in that case, we would just go ahead and check a box. This is one of these custom fields. So you can add checkboxes as well. We just had a text field right now. You could have a checkbox. You could have a number. You could have whatever you need in your contract. You can check boxes. You can put in $35 or whatever an hour, right? You can do everything. So it is completely crazy, completely nice. And you only see me putting in this form from my monitor right now, obviously because I'm sharing my screen and showing my phone is pretty annoying. But let me still show you my phone for just a second. Here's my teacher's conversation I usually have. I think the forms is in German, so I'm not gonna. I'm gonna show it to you. This is like so mobile responsive. You can open this from an airport, train, in the car. I did this literally everywhere, in a cafe in Medellin in the morning after a night out. Like, you will be able to work from everywhere and send out professional, maybe pre-signed Adobe signature emails to collect electronic signatures with real contracts, and then depending on everything we talked about. Like, this is really awesome. You don't need AI or something super fancy. You don't need to learn tech. I know we covered some IDs, and we gotta cover one or two ID things in just a second. But it is awesome. It is truly awesome what you can achieve with pretty little. And just to give you some perspective here, I mean, we're gonna add one or two more steps before I think I'm gonna be happy for now. Even though this is you're probably already mind blown. Like, wow, why did my old sales company take 3 years and still didn't implement electronic signatures? I don't know. Maybe you should just send them this video here and yeah, let them know it's so easy. Right? It's actually so easy. And if you work in sales, it's going to cost you a lot of money. If you're in business, it's going to cost you a lot of money to have waiting time, printers being broke, or sending emails and people are, oh, this doesn't work on my PC. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to go on vacations. I got, I don't know, something happened. Now I have a different idea. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. It's all bullshit. You need an instant way like this year. You have seen it. It takes 3 seconds to arrive on my phone. Nobody in this world doesn't have a phone. So you can just, while you're on a call, ask them to sign on the spot. And everybody can open it. You don't need Adobe, you don't need anything. So it's just truly awesome. 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 All right, now let me share with you how it looked for us. Just a quick excursus, because in a second we're going to go back and add one or two more things to our flow. Fortunately, this is partially German, so I didn't give you a demo. But it's basically the first step is when a new response is submitted. Then get the details from this response, initialize the variable, set a variable. So this is basically everything we already did. And then what we did today is create an agreement from a library template and send it out for signature. Now, what we did is you can transform also everything that you got from your forms into text, because it's going to return HTML. And you can create a new Trello card. This is create a new Trello card. Right? If you're using Trello, great. If not, then watch the first episode of System Saturday, because we covered Trello there. It's an amazing tool. We used it for multiple years there. And yeah, we created a new Trello card for this new lead. So I wanted to see the process of this lead through their life cycle. And we actually had approvals in there, and you can put conditions and everything. We were also sending multiple emails, not just one. Also, second email where I was sending more information. I was sending something for accessing our training platform for Net2Know, right? So, or requesting another form or whatever it is. So you can literally do everything here. Hang on. This is what we're going to do in a second. Get the status of an agreement, initialize variable, etc. And then wait until the agreement is signed. But you can do a lot here, right? You can create new SharePoint folders and upload the new contract into the folder. You can update your CRM, or what we did with a Trello card, right? So first we created a Trello card, and we later updated a card as soon as the contract was signed. It was pushed to another step in the process. You can download files, you can send emails, you can wait a week and then we actually sent another contract here. And then we also downloaded the contract. Like it's going on and on and on. Obviously, not best practices to have everything in one big flow, probably, but yeah, it's the way we did it. Worked out great for us, and this is actually stretching over 2 or 3 months. So it's a full onboarding episode of a new employee. That's how we did it. Work great for us. And before that, I'll be honest, I forgot a lot of shit. And people had to wait for me, and then sometimes they already talked to somebody else and they got another job, and I was like, oh god, I'm fucking stupid. Why didn't I? Like why didn't I? But yeah, we all have things to do, so this will be a great asset, I think, for everyone to use that uses signatures. Obviously, if you don't use signatures, then you don't need this here. Now we're at 124. It's actually not too bad. Let's switch to the new designer. This is the old designer. It looks horrible. All right. So, and one or two more things that I want to show you. We're going to go through them probably relatively quickly. Now, one thing, when you send this agreement, you could just monitor them from Adobe. Where's Adobe? Oh, it's obviously so slow. It's really a pain in my ass. Can click on this here. Maybe in 3 minutes it will open. Yeah, this is stupid. That's exactly the reason why we don't monitor it from Adobe, because it super sucks. So let's go here, right? Because otherwise you gotta open this Adobe thing, it's gonna reload 20 million times, and it's just annoying. You can get extra emails, but then again, you gotta log into Adobe. You gotta download your PDF of your signed contract. Like that's all a big pain in the ass, and then you gotta save it somewhere, blah blah blah. So I want to help you automate that even further, right? Now we gotta send out, we have everything, sending out the contract from our phone. Awesome. Now we also want to get it back. So what we gotta do is get the status of an agreement. Get status of an agreement. Let's see if it works this way, or if we gotta search for Adobe Sign. Get the status of an agreement. This is what we need, but obviously, again, not from a sandbox. I don't know why they always put it there. Get the status of an agreement, right? Not the sandbox, the normal one. This is pretty straightforward. Get the status of an agreement from what agreement? Well, the one that we sent out here, right? So we want to see if this agreement, first, let's say, set the agreement ID of this step, obviously, right? We're looking at this ID. We want to get the status of this agreement. So in Adobe, that's either signed, I think, or it's not signed or something. Honestly, not sure how the not signed is called, but we only look for, right? Why is it so slow? Let me quickly close this here. Well, this is mildly annoying. All right. Now, the issue is, if you check the status of an agreement, this step is going to be executed the exact moment after the agreement was sent out. I'm sure that anyone signs after a microsecond, right? So either way, when we get the status of an agreement, it's going to come back as not signed yet, right? So you could ask, well, why do we do it then? Well, the way that these things here work, these flows, is in a chronological order. So in order for a step to understand a piece of information, it has to be grabbed before. right? You saw that, for example, right now when I said, well, get the status of an agreement, we grabbing the information from this agreement ID here, right? So this here, we're basically just gonna use to refer to this agreement, and then we're gonna set another variable. I know you love these variables, everybody does. Oy, oy, oy. Variable. All right. Initialize a second variable. Click on that. Well, come on. Select the thing. What the fuck? All right. Hey, that was quick. So I want to call this the status of an agreement. It's going to be a string as well. Value, right? Click on value. Get the status of an agreement. Now, if you want to see more, you get to click on see more, obviously. And we need this the data somewhere in here. Status. There it is. All right. So to make sure. Wow, why is everything so fucking slow? It's really getting on my nerves. Jesus Christ. All right. So this here is our initialized variable. And now we gotta add something more. But again, let me save for just a second because this is way too wonky. It's probably these stupid Adobe windows. I'm gonna close them in a second. Because they are usually so slow, they probably try to reload for 100 times. Yeah, let's save this. Maybe it was the Adobe things. Yeah, the reason why we automate the whole thing. That just doesn't make any sense. Now, the next thing that we want to do, when we get the status of an agreement, it's just referencing the ID. When we initialize this variable, it's referencing this field from getting the status. But still, I know what the status is, right? I'm pretty sure nobody signed it in 1 microsecond. So we want to continue checking this status of the agreement for a certain amount of time. And the way we do that in, well, now it goes, I think it's actually this stupid ass Adobe. Wow. The way that we do this in Microsoft Power Automate is by an operator that is called do until. So it's basically a loop, right, for people that work in software. Do until, all right, control here. And it's basically gonna loop over everything that we put inside this loop until a certain parameter is fulfilled, right? So what we're gonna do is loop until the variable here. Hang on, we're gonna show you. This is one where you gotta check at the left side, right? There's this small stupid symbol. So we're gonna loop until the variable status is equal to signed in all caps, please, right? This is one where you can't, no extra, nothing. This is how it should be done. Now, inside this, we obviously want to put some more things. The first thing is going to be get the status of an agreement, right? So we basically are going to do the same thing. We, again, going to look for get the status of an agreement. Yeah. Oh God, I selected sandbox, man. You can't be serious. I mean, I told you guys, right? But it even happens to me. Oh, let me delete this one. This is sandbox. Yes. Annoying as hell. So obviously don't select the sandbox things, but the normal get a status of an agreement. It's one of the things where you watch the video and you're like, oh God, I saw this happening exactly. All right. Now I know why I put it. Okay. Now the first time it was up, the second one, so this was down. All right. Get the status of an agreement. All right. Now set variable again. Set. Oh, let's search for variable probably. Will be faster. Set variable. And then we're going to set this variable and say, oh, let's set this right away. Status is going to be equal. Oh, very important now. Get the status of an agreement 1. Get the status of an agreement. This here is get the status of an agreement 1. We want to look obviously for the status of this operation here, right? We really know already that this operation here will get not signed. We want to look for this here, right? We want to understand that this here, if this here is already signed or not, because this is the operation we care about. So we want to double check the name, get the status of agreement 1, get the status of agreement 1. Okay, see more. Oopsie, I hope this wasn't too loud. Scroll to the status. And you could say that's it. Now, here's the issue. If you don't give a loop a time delay, it's gonna loop like super fast, right? Check it. It's gonna go crazy. It's way too many executions, API calls, depending on whatever you use, right? So this here needs a delay. We want this to be happening not every microsecond. We want it to happen, let's say, every other hour, right? So you can look for a delay operation. Man, I honestly, I'm saying, right? Microsoft Power Automate, if you have Microsoft, great. If not, run and use N8N. This is just this is just annoying to work. It works. Let's hope it doesn't pop up with something again under my mouse. Delay. All right. All right. So we want to delay for, let's say, 1 hour before we continue to the next step. Let me explain that in plain English. We're going to check the status of an agreement once more. The variable, set variable 1, will be the status of this agreement. So is it already signed or not? And then before we check it again, we're going to wait 1 hour. All right, that's the delay that we just put in there. Now click on the do until again. And we're going to look for, is the status variable already set to signed in all caps, right? So the moment that this goes through, so let's say, for example, first run through, get the status of an agreement, not signed, set variable to not signed, wait 1 hour, do until, is it already signed or not? No, it's not signed. Okay, try again. Get the status of agreement 1 is signed, set variable to signed. Okay, great. Wait 1 hour. Is it already signed? Yes. Okay, then let's continue to the next step. I hope this wasn't more complex than, or more complicated than it is, but I struggled to understand when I started with IT these loops. It's basically going to go through the process, have the delay, and then wait until it's actually going to be signed. Now, here's something to take into account. So I always like to put a timeout on these. I don't like them to be staying open forever, honestly. I mean, this is probably up to personal preference as well. But I would say you don't need this here, axis, PT, 1H, whatever. This here is going to go for 60 executions. As I have a delay of 1 hour, this is 60 hours. This is only 2 to 3 days. Probably not enough to sign a contract, but I'm gonna be honest, who did not sign my contract for tutoring position after 200 hours. So that's basically 7-8 days, right? They're not gonna work with us, or I don't want to work with them. So I'm gonna set a limit here, and if this runs and this is still not set to signed, right? If they still didn't sign the contract, then it's just gonna stop running. Okay, right? Then we don't care anymore. If that makes sense. Oh, hang on, what's wrong here? Oh, I thought I showed you that. I didn't set the agreement ID. Look at that. Yeah, get the status of an agreement. Yeah, it's gonna be this here. Get the status of an agreement ID. I think we can use it from here. That's safe. I just used the agreement ID from this step. I think we could use it from the first step. I honestly think it doesn't matter, but yeah, seems to work. If we get an error here later, then I'm just gonna switch to to this here. They are both called agreement ID. I took it from this step. I'm not sure if I should have taken it from that step. Honestly, can't remember right now. But this is one of the things where you just gotta run it one time, check if it does work, great. If it doesn't work, then just change it. Now, we are closing in on 2 hours already. We created for you a contract contract template in Adobe Sign that you can fill in with dynamic information, because we have some fields that the receiver or the signer won't be able to edit. I actually didn't put any emphasis on this when I showed you the contract some minutes ago. Let me see if I could quickly pull it up. You will not be able, or me as the signer, I will be able to change these fields here, right? They are for me to enter something, but I'm not able to edit this field with the price in there or the hourly wage. Obviously, we don't want me as the employee to edit this field, right? Because this is why it's so important. If you don't remember, scroll back in the video to where we started, how you are setting this specific field. It should be read only, and everyone has to have access to fill in information. This is what allows our Power Automate here to put in the $35 from the form that I'm entering and then send out the agreement. But anyways, we created the template. We created a form where you can enter information on the fly or on your laptop or on your phone or whatever you want. We started building this flow here where we get the response, or we wait for a response, and then we get the response details from this whole form. So basically all the fields that could be the email address, the name, or the hourly wage or rate. We initialized the variable for the rate. We call this hourly rate. And we used this when we grabbed this annoying step here, the agreement ID from a library template, or yeah, the agreement ID of a library template that we put in here. And then we added this form field here where we said we want to fill in this field with our hourly rate variable, with our $35 or 110 or 95 or whatever it is, right? And we're going to send this out to the signer. And the signer has this email address that we grabbed, right? That we grabbed from our forms. That was my email address where we sent it to. All right. Now we checked the status of an agreement. This is obviously going to be not signed, but we use this step to then initialize this variable of the status of an agreement. And later on, we use this variable to create a loop for a do until action to wait until the status is signed and then only proceed to the next step. We don't want to wait forever for these guys to sign our agreement. So we set a 200-hour limit to this operation. And then every other hour, we're going to get the status of an agreement. So we're going to check if it's already signed, right? The variable will be set to if it's either signed or not. And then we're going to wait for an hour and do it again until it is finally signed. Now, this is actually pretty great. You could move on from here. What you saw before in the other flow that I showed you is when it wasn't signed after 200 hours, I configured myself a mobile notification and some updates on the Trello card on our CRM saying, hey, this guy didn't sign after 200 hours, we disqualified him, blah, 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 right? This is not really adding super much value right now, so I would rather not do it, but just saying you could even introduce some more complexity there. For us right now, though, I wasn't sharing again. Great, share. For us right now, though, we want to move on from here, right? We walked through this whole process. We had this here where we filled in everything. So we want to move on. And the most important thing basically is to download somehow the PDF of a signed agreement. Right? We want to have the contract in our hands. It's basically going to be 4 more steps, I think. So we want to get a PDF of a signed agreement, I think. Get a PDF of a signed agreement. If I select Sandbox one more time, I'm going to freak out. Get a PDF of a signed agreement. Here, I'm going to select the agreement ID. I'm going to select that from here. Get the status of an agreement. 1, agreement ID. And that's basically it. Now, before I move on, I want to, I do apparently now have the PDF, but I've got to put it somewhere. Obviously, if you're on Microsoft, you're going to use SharePoint for that. So let's search for everything we can do in SharePoint. Let's see more. Create a folder. Create new folder. And now, one thing that I like to do, because the folder should have a name. Now I'm gonna just show, let's go here. This is where we put all our stuff, list, library. Yeah, well, we could put a folder path. Documents. I am thinking. I just want the name in here. So folder path should just be the name. Honestly, not sure if that will work. We will see in a second. Now, this is basically creating is a new SharePoint folder, right? This is our basic SharePoint site. This is the list or library, obviously documents, right? And then we have the folder path. This would then basically just go ahead and create in the first folder that you see on your documents page, or in the folder overview would create a new folder. Obviously, normally you want to nest that into some more things. So we would say, I don't know, right? Contract / teachers / and then comes the name. But for now, let's leave it at like this. Click on this, and we want to do another SharePoint thing again, and we want to create a new file. No, we don't have this here. See more. Oh God. Oh, I actually clicked on the right thing. Well, that was a coincidence. Honestly, this Microsoft's gonna kill me one day. All right, so we're gonna create a file in the same folder structure. Obviously, folder path must be. Oh, hang on. There it is. Okay. Again, it's on the left side here. Click on the arrow thing. Now, we obviously don't know the folder yet because it's going to be created this step here, right? It's going to create a new folder, and we were going to create a file to basically upload the PDF of the contract to this new folder, but we don't know the folder path yet. So we're going to go create new folder in this step here, see more, and we are looking for the full body path, I think, full path. There's so many shit in here. Full path, I think. Folder path? No. Yeah, no. Full path for now. I honestly, these things sometimes get out of hand, like 70 things that you get from a folder. Anyways, one more thing that you need to understand here is you want to name this contract .pdf. If you don't call it .pdf, it's not going to really work because it's not going to know what format it is. And if you click it, it gives you an error because it doesn't know what it is. But for the file content, that should be pretty obvious. We want to get the PDF of a signed agreement in there. All right, so let's click on there. Get a PDF of a signed agreement. Where's this? And we want to get the complete file content, right? This should be our PDF file. So that's it. I think, let's try to save this. I'm not sure if I had anything free where it just jumped around. I mean, we're actually approaching 2 hours. It's crazy. But we have some really nice shit built here. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So let's now test this. I'm not gonna go all the, okay. It's not a big deal. Let's do it manually one more time, huh? Oh no, let's do it automatically. I don't care. Let's go ahead with the 110 bucks per hour again. Test. It's gonna resubmit the form that we submitted an hour ago. Get the email again. Let's see. Now this should be, as I submitted resubmitted basically what we had 1.5 hours ago. This should basically give me 110 bucks, I think. Yep. Here we are. 100. You can't see shit probably. 110 bucks though. It worked. All right. So it took the right information from the form. Now let's move through the process, see if everything works. It got the status of an agreement, and it initialized the variable. Now, one issue that we have here, because I showed you the final configuration, is this here. It's gonna make me wait 1 hour until it checks the agreement, right? If it's already signed. It's obviously pretty annoying. So what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna click here, edit. I hope you understand what it's doing here. So it's looking at the delay, and the delay is 1 hour. So it's going to wait 1 hour, right? The step that we introduced there that you would need in a production if you want. So, right, if you in your normal day-to-day business context, you will need that. But for now, for testing it is really annoying, right? Because it's gonna make me wait forever. So what we're gonna make is this here is gonna be 1 minute only. Let's click on save, and then we're gonna execute the whole thing again, just really quick. And this is really good for you to see as well, right? Because otherwise you're sitting there like, oh man, Linus, it's spinning forever. What is it doing? Right? You can see it's still running. I don't care right now, but you would know now. This is important to understand. Let's go ahead and test with the first one. I think that was 95 bucks. Let's see. That worked. Now let me quickly go in there and actually sign the thing, right? Because that's what it's waiting for. Continue. Yeah, it's 95 bucks. Click to sign. I'm gonna just do something. Linus. Click on submit. So I'm gonna submit this here. And you and me, we're gonna keep, okay, this was signed successfully. We're gonna keep watching these circles now for just a couple of seconds until it has the next run on checking if this agreement was already signed. And then we will see the most annoying part, if it actually creates the SharePoint folder correctly or not. Sometimes if you have, let's say, for example, an extra space in there or something, it doesn't want to create the SharePoint folder. It can get a little bit annoying with SharePoint. I really not the biggest fan of it. But what you can do then, the forms, let's say, for example, you struggle with having extra spaces in there, right? And it gives you an error every time. What you can do in the Microsoft Forms is say, you can set rules for the fields. For example, can only contain letters and not free spaces. Right? In that case, it's gonna prevent you from fat fingering entering an extra space and then it doesn't work, but you will be guaranteed that it always works when you set these rules for the specific fields in the Microsoft Forms that you create. Let me just grab a quick water while this is running. Oh, well. Seems like that worked, huh? By the way, if you watch my vlogs half a year ago, you will remember that I had sleepless nights because of that shit when I was in Medellin. And I wasn't showing all green dots. I was showing a lot of red axes because nothing worked. Okay, this here does not seem to work. Let's see if my login credentials worked. Let me try to go to SharePoint here. I'm just pulling it out. So I'm not showing you accidentally a bunch of client data like I did in the last few sessions. So it's still spinning on the create new folder. Wondering why. Could be that it doesn't have. No, that couldn't be. Hang on. And why do I have so many windows open? I have so many windows open, just the one that I need, I don't have it. Like this, everything here that I don't need. SharePoint. Documents. Allow. Okay, so let me share the screen again. So now I should not be at risk of sharing something I don't want to. But it is still spinning, as you will see. Are we? All right. So I think it's safe to say that this step here is not working. So that's also good to see. Obviously annoying, but let's see what could be causing this. So let's see if we can go edit this flow again. Wow, this Mac is cooked. Why is it so damn slow? I think I need to get myself one of these studios, Mac Studio. All right, so something with the create folder did not work. Let me check. So what I want to do, let's get rid of this here. Let's go into, let's try to nest this into, what the heck, come on. Insert dynamic, yeah, come on. I still want to have the name of the teacher in there. I don't know why it's doing this. Here's something missing, guys. Yeah, this doesn't work. Okay, save this. I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna go into, oh no. Oh no, I can't go in there. Okay, all right, let me get back here. Nah, guys, I mean, I'm on my own Microsoft, but we used it for a whole company, right? And there's a lot of data in there. So let's get this out of there. So we do have a path. I think that should be good, actually. I'm not quite sure why it didn't work. So what I want to do, is there any extra spaces here? No, that should be working. What I want to do again is submit one more of these forms, because I think maybe because I was playing around, Linus the big boss, whatever, maybe I actually put extra spaces in there, whatever. So let's go to forms again. I'm gonna grab the forms that we kick this here off with and start a new test. And this here is obviously the process that you will go through when you create this yourself. Don't expect this to work on the first try, and probably you should expect to need more tries than I do. But if you invest just a couple of hours, again, this way will be paying you back tremendously. So what's going on here? Oh, it's still saving. Oh God. All right, I'm gonna go submit a new form in just a second. And this time I'm just gonna say the boss. Right, this should eliminate any problems with whatever I said before. Let's say this here. Hourly rate this time will be 75. Not that we paid that to any tutor ever. Hang on. This. Did we forget anything else? I think we're good. I think this should probably be it. Test manually, right? So it's going to wait for a response to be submitted. I'm going to submit this right now. Grab this here. See how it's spinning, hopefully. Well, seems like this site is not refreshing. What the okay, here we go. Let me quickly sign real quick before the minute is over. Don't want to wait another minute. Continue. 75, that's good. Blah, 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 blah. The boss, apply, submit. All right, got it. Oh, I didn't even show you, but yeah. Obviously, we tested this often enough. It works. Right, now we wait for a second to have this spinning. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we get this to work now because we're already on this for 2 hours. But yeah, I would have wished for a video like this back then. Obviously, now with time, your automations will improve. Or if you bring in a company, right? For example, I'm working with companies to automate their processes with software, sometimes smaller companies, sometimes some of the larger companies in the world, all using different systems and different requirements. Obviously, at some point, you won't be able to move on with Power Automate, I'll be honest, right? But this is more for when it comes to multiple systems integrations or yeah, information transfer across multiple platforms, right? You have a CRM that has to be updated and this and that, and you want a phone AI agent to do whatever, and maybe, you know, interact with your team, blah, blah, blah. Then at some point, this here isn't enough. But for easy straight line stuff, this is very good. And this is also where Zapier is actually good, where Make is good. And then when it comes to like super advanced stuff, then you probably want to work with N8N. It's just more options to include AI and other systems. So let's scroll down. Hey, create new folder. So it was actually, yeah, who would have guessed that? I did, but who would have guessed that? So it was actually the stupid thing there, the stupid extra symbol in the form. I hope you understood this, by the way. This is super important. So there's rules, obviously, on how you can name a Microsoft SharePoint folder. When you do it yourself and you enter a wrong name, it's going to give you an error. But if you do it in automation, it's just going to fail. It's not going to tell you, oh, you can't put this in here, right? So if I say this here, right, I put in a pipe here. Maybe Microsoft doesn't accept pipes in their titles for SharePoint folders. Right? In that case here, you will not get an error. You just get a failed automation. So it's really important, if you want this here to be bulletproof, you can actually do this by going to the form, going onto, oh yeah, in the edit mode. And guys, I know we are on time, so I will need to stop in a second, but quickly show you that. Got it, whatever. If you're on the field here, you can click on these things here, and you can set restrictions. For example, is text doesn't contain space, right? Easy. So text doesn't contain space. That's what I just put in here. Obviously, you can't see it because it's space, right? But if I put a space, then this text cannot contain this. So the way we did it actually is have first name, last name. Both cannot contain text, and both cannot contain, you can like add extra fields and whatever. Both cannot contain special symbols or whatever. And then you will always get this to work. Now, though, let's see what we did here. right? Let's go to the folder. Yay, man. This took 2 hours, but let's go to the folder and find it. Hope so. Hope so. Where is it? Should be in here. Here's a folder called The Boss, right? So this here is the path that we gave it, because I didn't want to go into here where we usually have it. The Boss. Let's open The Boss. And in there, I find a PDF. Again, it's very important that you name this file contract.pdf. Otherwise, the system won't understand it's a PDF. So let's open contract PDF. And here is, obviously I didn't, because I wanted to hurry up, I didn't fill in the fields at the top. These were useless fields that weren't required, right? But here is the thing, $75 an hour. And here's the signature we collected. It's the date from today's day. And that's basically it. Yeah. So that's it. I would probably always end this. This is useless to show you guys because you can imagine how it goes. There's a Power Automate app that I already showed you. So I always it's gonna show you send mobile notification or something. I'm just quickly gonna show you. There's something called send mobile notification, I think, in here. If you click on edit, I'm gonna just show you how to. I'm not going through the whole step again, but just showing you how to, quickly select this step. It's actually very easy. Yeah. So if you click on plus, right at the end of everything that you do successfully or unsuccessfully, this is how you should do it. That's why you saw it multiple times in the other thing that I shared with you. At the end of everything you do in a flow like this, successfully or unsuccessfully, you want to have a notification. At least that's what I want, right? I want a notification on my phone. It's down here. And it's gonna, you have the option, I think, to send me a mobile notification or send me an email or something. And even though it's not working again because of reasons, I don't know why. Yeah, screw this. It's gonna look like, okay, I can't even close it. That's hilarious. Look at this. It doesn't even let me close the window. What a joke. All right, send me a more can't use scroll. Everything is just laggy as heck for some reason. But yeah, it's gonna just ping you on the phone, right? I always like that. It's just gonna send you a small message saying, hey, Linus signed their contract, or Linus did not sign their contract in 200 hours. You know, here it is, right? Send me a mobile notification. All the good things that we covered before, it can basically just go ahead and tell you what's up. I really like that, so I don't have to ever look into these executions ever. Hang on. Oh yeah, I like this because I then never have to look into any of the executions ever. It's really annoying, I think, to have an automation that you have to constantly check. You want to have everything spoon-fed to you in your in your phone or on a dashboard or something. So that's always what I prefer. Just add a notification there, and that's then how you end a flow. And this is, I know you saw a bigger flow that I created, but it was only because we had more steps for the total onboarding, and we had also a update and creation process in our CRM system, or Trello, not a real CRM, but what we used for our CRM management, basically. So yeah, that's the only reasons. Otherwise, this is everything that I had for managing 100 contractors and over 100 customers for Net2Know, getting all the digital signatures, and also taking care that all these contracts, all these important documents are stored safely in a cloud, in a folder that is very clearly identifiable by the name, right? You don't have to search through it forever. It has a clear path that it always goes. I get notifications for everything in my phone, and I don't have to do anything ever. I'm doing nothing but having a chit chat with people, putting in stuff in a simple form, clicking on submit, and everything else is taken care of. And yeah, that was a great improvement for our business. I'm hoping it will be the same for you. This was a long video, so props to you for making it to the end. If you get to a point where you struggle and maybe ChatGPT can't help you because obviously has its limitations even now, yeah, just drop something in the comments and I'm gonna do my best, or text me on Instagram or something, and I'm gonna do my best to help you, yeah, figure out what's wrong with this small cool flow. And again, hope it's going to change your business to the better, and then see you in one of the next and hopefully shorter episodes of System Saturday. That's for today. And yeah, thank you for watching. Ciao, ciao.